Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anatis Knowledge Academy webinar series. Today, we have a Claude Robert. He has an experienced horticulture and entomology expert who graduated from the Agriculture College. He has worked in greenhouse research since 2004 and has advised small fruit producers. Claude has also worked with Quebec's pest monitoring team and has been involved in pesticide registration for organic and small fruit sectors. Since 2018, he has been a SARE representative and technical advisor at Anatis Bioprotection and also contributes to research and development projects. Hello, Claude. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be able to do my first Annexus Academy workshop. I see a couple names that I know already in the people are present. Some people speak French, but for the purpose of the workshop, there will be French versions soon, adapted to Quebec. But for now, the format is in English, so I assume that everyone understands well English. So just to add on to Amid's presentation, I was working with the RAP sector, Petit Fruits, small fruits, and organic sector. So I was one of the people that was taking data about the situation. I've been involved in research for new cultivars of strawberries, things like that, across the years. So I'm glad to be able to present how to optimize your biocontrol in greenhouse strawberries. I have a lot of knowledge for field IPM. There's a lot of issues that happen in both conditions, both settings. So I will start the presentation.
Yeah, before starting, just I can add that if somebody has a question or something like that, just they can write down, and I will ask you after finishing your presentation. Thank you, Claude. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, can we see my screen? Is the video is the presentation? Can you see it?
Yeah, it's perfectly. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you. So Anatis, to describe us briefly, we've been around since 2005. Slowly but surely, our founder, Sylvia Todorova, found a Bovaria strain N03 on a tarnished plant bug in the Punaise Terme in Quebec. And then since then, after that, she developed the product, the formulations, did all the approvals for our label. Then after that, it started with the predatory mite farm. And we've been growing and growing. When I arrived at Anatis 6 years ago, we were about 6-7 employees. Now we're more than 20 employees. So it's really amazing the progress we made. So we rear many of our insects, and we are partners with others to complete our catalog. So integrated pest management in greenhouse strawberry production is a very particular crop. And why using IPM in greenhouse strawberries? Key reason, there's a lot of pests that love strawberries. Spider mite, thrips, aphid, white flies. There's powder mildew issues too. I will touch on a bit about the powder mildew issue since it's related with the pest control, but we won't touch the disease of strawberries, except a bit the powder mildew. Consumer demand is very important to have a good IPM. People prefer organic pesticide-free produce. The environmental benefits for the workers, for the people that buy your product. It protects the pollinator, the water quality, the sustainability also. It brings success on the long term. The components of IPM, just to go briefly over like key elements, is really monitoring, scouting, identification of pests, and also of beneficials, having preventive measures, doing biological control is preferable. Some people still use chemical pesticides, and it's possible to use both, but we have to have certain precautions. Physical and mechanical control is also very important. Education, always ongoing training. Identification is very, very important. Monitoring your plants, scouting your plants is key. Scouting, like checking the plants regularly. The tools that we have are sticky traps to catch the flying pests like fungus gnats or thrips. The hand lenses, I would recommend getting something that's 60 to 80 times power, because if you want to see the brown mites, you need something that really has a good magnification. Very good importance of having the accurate pest identification, and also being able to identify the beneficials. Bang boards, very simple. In the picture you see this lady is using just a regular paper plate, a white plate. It's just you bang your plants, and then you see what falls off of your plant, if they're good or bad. And then you could do a proper scouting, because just trying to check on the plants themselves is kind of difficult. Preventive measures, for sure, sanitation, always removing debris, especially when you have powder mildew. If there's any weeds that get in the greenhouse or that were coming out of the potting mix, infected plants were very important to get rid of. Having proper control of temperature, humidity, ventilation, this you already know, but it's very important for the predators. And if you can like select disease-resistant strawberries for powder mildew tolerance, it would be good. Using biological control. In physical and mechanical control, the inclusion is insect netting, screens, some pheromone traps. We're looking into getting like some aggregation pheromones on sticky traps in the next year. Pruning, like removing infested plant parts, very important. UVC light, we'll touch about that because it's important. Some things happen with the PMRA, and we'll talk about it in a bit later in the presentation. So the importance of education and training, training workers on pest ID and all the IPM tools they can use, because you'll have one designated person usually for IPM, but it's good that all the crew, even the workers that they just harvest or plant the plants, know the basics, so they can like alert any their upper person to take care of the issue they just discovered. In my many years of the scouting strawberry fields, all the Guatemalan workers were my 50 eyes in the field, and they would like show me sooner sometimes the new infestation that would happen in the field. And for sure, having access to manuals, even a poster, and follow the Anatis Academy workshops. So the implementation steps for growers that want to like get into organic control in their greenhouse strawberries is to really conduct your pest risk assessment. There's certain pests that always are there. Certain are more like depending on the region you are, or the state of your facility. Is it indoors vertical, or is it just like in a greenhouse, and what type of greenhouse it is? Every setting is different, and we have to adapt our plant to the growing conditions of the production site. Then we develop tailored IPM plants that way, with all the specs that we can get from the facility, and to know what pests we have to get ready for. And training the staff, like I said, is very important. Introducing biological controls early at the first day. It's very, very important. Pests don't wait, they multiply rapidly. So they have to be, you cannot wait. and to integrate all the methods, the cultural, mechanical, biological tools, and always evaluate and adjust strategies regularly. Temperatures for greenhouse strawberry production is particular because most growers keep the low temperatures at night, and they try to maintain it at 16 degrees Celsius during the day to have a proper fruit setting. So special attention to the predators that we'll use will be have to be taken into account. Usually, growers use tray plants to plant the first plants. Inspection and quarantine at arrival is very important. Even if the propagator certifies that their plants are clean, sometimes it happened and he didn't see it yet, especially for brown mites. So you can also dip your cuttings into BioCRS WP against aphid, strips, and white flies. It's approved now on the label. You can use it as a dip. Trips is more and more of a problem, even in the fields. It wasn't a big problem 20 years ago in the fields, but now it is, and is also a big problem in greenhouses and indoor settings. What happens with the trips is that we have to use a pitchfork approach to fight it, because it has many stages. The adult will lay its egg in the leaf tissue. The adult we can get with Aureus and sticky traps. The eggs are unreachable. Then the first instar we can use Cucumeris, Swarovski, Aureus, Bovaria, second instar too. Then it falls to the ground, becomes a pupa. Then we use the predatory mites, Stratiolelap, even better Gailolelaps gillespii. And also Dalosia could help, nematodes could help. So it's very important to act very fast with trips because one female trips will multiply very rapidly. 21 degrees Celsius, I think they lay about four eggs and it takes 3 days. 26 Celsius, it's 15 eggs and it takes a day and a half. So they multiply very rapidly. So we have different solutions against trips. Aureus, the minute parrot bug, is one of the best predators there is. They will kill or eat about 40, 50 trips even a day. So it's a very good predator. And also using the predatory mites because they work well together. Swarovski, if you have, depending on the conditions in your greenhouse. Cucumeris, very good too. And on the ground, Gailolelaps, Stratiolelap, Dalosia. Nematodes, Bovaria. To maintain, I will talk about this concept too, that we're really pushing in all sorts of crops now, is to use banker plant system. Banker plant system will help predators or parasitoid maintain themselves, get food, shelter, and then you'll maintain them in your crop. Purple flash is one of the favorite cultivar to maintain Aureus in the greenhouse in hanging baskets because it is ornamental or hot peppers will have more flowering sites than regular bell peppers, or so that's why we use these cultivars to maintain Aureus. Also, BioCRS is very efficient against strip. There's two that are labeled for strawberries. So check your labels. You can consult us for any needs that you need according to how to use BioCRS. If you happen to have a cold fogger applicator, it is the best way to use Bovaria. It is better than regular sprayers. So you can use regular sprayer, but if you have the chance to have a cold fogger, it is now labeled to use it with a low volume applicators like a cold fogger. You have to make sure that it's a real cold fogger. It is not a heat fogger like a pulse fog bio. Cold fogger would be a good example. So different banker plants can be used with strawberries. Some even used mullen banker plants to maintain Deciphus asperus. It's also a big generalist predator that will get rid of thrips, will go after aphids and whiteflies. So it is a good, and many others. So it is a good predator to maintain in your greenhouse with the mullen plants. They will use the mullen plants to feed and to reproduce. Alyssum too is a good candidate for a banker plant because it produces a lot of nectar that will help. If your greenhouses are open from the outside, they will attract some beneficials like syrphid flies maybe, but it will also help the aureus that you have in your greenhouse, or even like predatory mites will benefit from the nectar and pollen from these plants. Alyssum is used more and more also as banker plant system in field production for strawberry. It will attract pollinators and beneficials a lot. Spider mites is another big issue in strawberries. So it could reproduce very rapidly. The thing with the strawberry production temperatures, it doesn't help spider mites, so it's a good thing. So, but then the solutions that we have to use against spider mites, we have to adapt it to the temperatures in the greenhouse, but most of them will work at Phalaenopsis will start to work at 9 degrees Celsius, and Persimmon will start to work at 13 degrees Celsius. Stetorus is also a good candidate because it is adaptable to many conditions of relative humidity and temperature. So Bioceres EC now is registered against spider mites in strawberry production. It is the action of the oil mainly that will suffocate the oil present in the mix in the formulation, that will suffocate the predatory mites and also the bad mites and the good mites. So if you're using predatory mites already, it's better to use the WP against thrips and other pests, but to refrain from the EC, or to use the EC at first at planting, and then use the predatory mites afterwards once they dried up, and in the next days you can introduce the predatory mites, but the action of the oil will suffocate either bad or good. So we have to be careful if you're using the Bioceres EC for spider mite control. Using predatory mites, this has to we have to check at what their characteristics are, and if they're what will be the best mite for the best situation. So let's say we have a low pest density. Phalaenopsis is very good for that. Phalaenopsis is a good traveler. It can withstand a lot, a time of with no food. It could sustain itself on the pollen a lot. So it can use all the pollen as an alternate food source. So Phalaenopsis is my favorite one to introduce because it is also good against brown mites. But it has to be used preventively. If there's webbing present from spider mites, then we have to resort to Persimmon because they won't be able to reach out to spider mites across their webs. And it is also active. It starts at 9 degrees Celsius and could go up to 32 Celsius. So it's a very polyvalent mite and very good because it is a native mite from Canada. So I think the origin was Ontario for this one that we have, and So you can adapt also to certain pesticides. So it is a very good mite to have, even in the field. It can establish itself. I have the experience of raspberry growers that were using them, and they would scout them again the next year after the first year of introduction. It's very important to evaluate the efficacy of the beneficials when you're doing your scouting. So you'll notice less damage, less population, and it's also important to differentiate the corpses of the spider mites and from the active ones, because the predatory mites will suck up the content of the spider mites, but there will be a corpse remaining. So if you're just looking like that with your bare eye, you might not think there's still spider mites, but they're in fact all dead. So this is important to check to see the efficacy. Brown mites, it happens more in fields. It could happen propagators sometimes, and you could get plants that have brown mites. So the symptoms are really like usually distorted tissues, and it always happens in the heart of the plant itself. And you'll see little grains of salt, could be another indicator too. And you'll see also all the morphology of the leaf that is affected by the brown mite itself when it's feeding. And it's very important to get a 60 to 80 time power to observe them during scouting. Lygus bug, or Chinese plant bug, La punaise terne, it's a really major pest, maybe number one in the fields. In greenhouses, it depends on your settings, where you're situated. If you're like in Ontario, it might be a bigger problem than Quebec, but it could happen. Then we have to also differentiate abiotic damages versus biotic damages, meaning the difference between the strawberry bad pollination or lygus bug damages. So on figure A and B, we can see like the achenes, the true fruits, the seeds, are normal. They're just closer to each other. It's because when the lygus bug feeds on the plant, it injects something that will stop the formation of the tissue that supports the seeds. So you see the seeds are the same size, but they're closer together. So in French, we say it's face de chat. It's a cat's face. So it declasses the fruit. And the bad pollination, it doesn't happen usually indoors because of rain or cold factors, but it's sometimes because something is wrong with pollination with the bumblebees. Maybe too many bumblebees, so they over-pollinate the flowers, or there's something wrong with them, they're not present. So you see in figure C and D that the achenes, the true fruits, stayed small because some of them because they were not well pollinated. Bioceres, like I said, is approved for production in strawberries now against different pests. Aphids, sorry, the quality was the first phone that were taking pictures. It's my first case of a lot of aphids in the strawberries. You first notice them usually with the exoskeletons and the honeydew they produce, because usually they're under the leaf. So sometime when you don't do a regular or careful scouting, then the first signs are the exoskeleton, the shed skins. Strawberry aphid is one of the common ones you can find in strawberry. They're different because you can see they have they have hairs on their side. Different solution for aphids. For sure, we could use nematodes, but depending, it's not something that we use really often, mostly for rice root aphids or other aphids in the strip. It's not an issue in strawberries. Aphidoletes we could use in the field against strawberry aphids and others. I don't use it often in greenhouses, but it could be used too. Micromus, right now, I wish we had a lot more to offer to the growers. It is a good predator because the adults also eat aphids, and it also starts to work at 4 degrees Celsius up to 32 Celsius. So it is very special type of chrysopa. In green lacewing that most people know is also a good predator of aphids. Aphidius is also another very good ally that we use with banker plant systems. We grow some barley that we inoculate with some bird cherry oat aphids, and these aphids only affect a monocot. So the little banker plant system, in fact, becomes a breeding farm for Aphidius to use in the greenhouses. Syrphid flies are not available for now. We're looking for more or less migratory species. Some natural ones present in their surroundings might get into your greenhouse if you have exterior vents that permit some insects to get in. They pollinate plants, and their larvae will eat aphids. They're one of the best predators for aphids. Adalia also could be used, and the Bovaria for sure against aphids. But for Bovaria, I would use it every 3 to 5 days because aphids molt, and we, according to label, we could use it every 3 to 5 days. So I would use it more often if you're trying to control aphids. So these are the banker plants I was talking about for breeding Aphidius collemani, and 1 plant per acre per week on the going. So I would say 1 to 2 plant per greenhouse would be good. Whitefly is less of a problem in Quebec, but it can happen. It's more a problem elsewhere in Canada and the States. So we have different solution. Like I said before, Decyphus, people were using mullein plants as banker plants to help Decyphus. Aureus could get rid of some stages. Delphastus is used too. Swirsky could get rid of some stages too. And Amcarsia and Eretmocerus are the most used solution, with a Bavaria too. That is also very efficient against the whiteflies. So these shows like the different results that we conducted with our biosurface against whiteflies. Evaluation of the results is very important too for whitefly infestation. You have to observe less population, the percentage of parasites, because they will turn black. Dimension of captures that you see on the sticky traps too. Fungus gnat is another issue. It's more annoying than really a big issue in strawberries, but you don't want to see them anyways. So, and usually they will come out the grow bags that people use with cocoa or the grow slabs with pressed cocoa or with the peat media or things like that. They already are, it's like a bad joke, but they're already inoculated with fungus gnats, because fungus gnats just need organic matter and a bit of humidity, and they will thrive. So they don't even need an actual plant. So that's why some people, like some vendors, store the bags in their warehouse, and that's where it happens. Micro fissures in the plastic, and they just get in, and you already have them. So it's better to, at planting, to use, I would favor Galolapse, would be my favorite. If you have short flies issues, then I would add also Dalosia. But you could also use Tretulelap, it's very good too. But Galolapse, I believe, is always superior in pressed substrate, like cocoa bags or even rock wool. So fungus gnat can bring disease. That's what, and there's also like it doesn't help the health of the plant in general. And you have limited roots also with the strawberries. So that's why we have to fight fungus gnat, the major reasons. UVC lights against powder mildew. There's a new issue. Not many people were warned. I don't know what happened with their communication. There's new regulation now for PMRA. They decided to create a new category. There was like greenhouse, outdoors, indoors. Now they have vertical farming. So the description they made of vertical farming is kind of clear in a way. In some ways, it's not. If you read between the lines, it would mean that every type almost of strawberry growing indoors in greenhouse would be vertical. Because if plants are in the gutter and they're supported and they're above the ground, it means maybe it needs to be clarified. It's very important, but it's not been addressed yet. They didn't even tell us at Tanetis about our bioceres when we're able to submit what they need to have vertical farming approved on our labels. So a lot of people are looking into other solutions against powder mildew. So there's a lot of buzz about UVC lighting. There's different devices. Some are robotic. They're kind of really dangerous for people. People have to wear eye protection. They have to be used at night. Beneficial would be affected by UVC light too. It will kill most of them, but you must continue introduction anyways of beneficials, even if there will be a lot of little soldiers that will die on the battlefield, because you have to cover the areas that won't be touched by the UVC lights. So the bad mites could be thriving under the leaves and not being touched by UVC light, and you need the predatory mites there to help against that. So it is also an issue mostly in the most like and have a better climate like Ontario, and that the caterpillars happen in the greenhouses. It's more traditional greenhouses that will be affected. We have solution. We have trichogramma wasps that we release on cards or in capsules that will go and lay their eggs inside the eggs of caterpillars. And we also have Potisus maculomentris. It's a predatory bug of caterpillars, of sawflies, of gray worm, of different pests, and also of larvae of tarnished plant bug. We call it also the soldier bug. We have to differentiate them between the new invasive species, which is a pest that looks a lot like the soldier bug. So we have to make sure that it's not the new invasive species of this has happened. This pest, the strawberry and wine weevil, happen mostly in fields. It might be an issue in Ontario, sometimes in the greenhouse, maybe sometimes also in Quebec, but there's no registered solution for them. I'm pretty sure the Bavaria would affect them, but it's not on the label. Arpalus rufipes 2 is a pest, happens mostly outdoors in more and less colder climates too. It will eat the fruit. We have to make sure that whatever we use, that it won't affect the pollinators. Bioceres has very low toxicity for bumblebees and others. If you use it once they're in their hive, it's the best timing. Anyways, it's always the best timing to use the Bavaria at sundown because you're going to favor more relative humidity and less UV light if you're using regular sunlight as the lighting source for your strawberries. Because the enemies of Bavaria is mainly UV and dryness. So sulfur is another thing. It kills a lot more than powdery mildew. Sulfur, people that using sulfur burners or things like that against powdery mildew have to be careful. Maybe Anistis baccharum would survive some sulfur. There's been studies that have been done late 70s in Quebec, the decades before that we found a way to rear them commercially, about a different resistance of Anistis baccharum with different pesticides, but so they were resistant to sulfur. There's been a lot of talk. It's a rumor, but I think it's going to prove true. Agrotech sulfur burners would be phased out soon. So we'll be left with people that are using sulfur, with wettable sulfur that's sprayable. It's really important to check the compatibility of any chemical or even organic pesticide or fungicides that you're using with beneficial. We have these tables that we could give you if you need any information. Contact us or contact the maker of the product that you're or the distributor of the product that you're using. The benefits of IPM, in fact, you improve your yield and fruit quality. If you don't have any infestation affecting your plants, you eliminate the chemical residues, you support the environment, and you enhance your marketability because you meet really the growing consumer expectations. There's really a big transition to organic growing. I saw it at Quebec Vert, an expo we saw last week, and people that usually never use any beneficials like ornamental nurseries, garden centers, they all want to be transitioning now. So it's very important that people learn how to use organic control in their integrated pest management. In conclusion, that's it. IPM will really ensure that sustainable and profitable strawberry production, and very important to use all means that you can do. Monitoring and scouting is one of the most important. The prevention, using organic control, physical tools, and this will align with your consumers' demand and with the environment. I would like to thank the MAPAC, Dr. Sylvia Todorova, Dr. Omid Joashi, Cornell University, the Ministry of Agriculture of Ontario, the Strawberry and Raspberry Growers Association from Quebec, and I got one of my slides for the great book from David Spencer from Applied Bionomics, Biocontrol handbook. Thank you. And is there any questions?
Okay, thank you so much, Claude. Greatly appreciate for your perfect presentation. So if anybody has a question, just write down. And but I couldn't see yet any question. So anyway, if you don't have any question, we just look forward to seeing you all in our next webinar, and keep in touch. And also, I have to add that this video will be available very soon on our YouTube channel. So I can share with you all this link.
And also, I had limited time. I could have talked for hours. So if anybody has any question, don't hesitate.
Yeah, even in French, I can just raise hand and I can give access to talk with you directly. So just they can do some discussion. So yeah, someone is just writing something I can see here. So one question, do you have any experience with a push and pull system for Lygus, Claude?
Okay, meaning to have like, does he mean like having some attractive plant for them and then using kind of a vacuum to get them in the, it's like kind of a banker attractive plant, something for them, for the Lygus, like alfalfa that you could use. Alfalfa is a lot more attractive to lygus bug than strawberries. So if you use repellent tablets inside the greenhouse. Okay, I was just trying to read the questions.
Yeah. So can you? I think you have access to another question. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see another question, Claude?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Given that trips are generally always present in the greenhouse environment, what are the different thresholds in terms of density per flower that distinguish between a normal acceptable density, a density requiring preventive intervention, and a true outbreak? Do you have an answer for that, Dr. Joashi? In fact, I would answer that there's no acceptable density. You try to get under detectable levels because trips reproduce rapidly, and in strawberries is usually are kept for it's a long period. They will change the plants to new plants. I mean, the crop lasts a while. So it is very important, that's it, to be sure to address all stages of the life cycle of the trips. And Galulaps considered more effective than Dalosia for controlling trips pupa in soil.
Yeah, this and in meantime, I think Dr. Sylvia also now has access. If
okay,
I gave access to Dr. Sylvia.
Okay.
Now the mic is open for him, for her. But yeah, okay. Hello, Sylvia.
Hello, everybody. Thank you to participate to this presentation, and thank you, Claude. It's very interesting. Just about this strategy, push and pull. This is something new for us. I know that this is applied for the last few years in Europe, and we started to learn more about it and how we can use, for example, the pheromones to attract and after to make some traps or to use specific predators or in our case microbiological for kill the pest. We don't have experience, but we work on it, and very soon we will come back with plan and strategy for the push and pull systems in the greenhouses.
So for the second question, why is Galulaps considered more effective than Dalosia? I would say Galulaps over Stratiolaps. I would let Dr. Joashi compare Dalosia between mites.
Okay, yeah, this it's a very good question because as you explained that about the Geolelaps gillespie is a native species of Canada and very good species, and they can survive very well and adapt very well with a Canadian condition. So, and on the other hand, these are surface-oriented one. And we have to, check that where the pupa become to the pupal stage, the trips become to the pupal stage, mostly on surface. So we need one agent as a predator on surface, mostly on surface, For this reason, I think, and the research also telling that the Geolelaps is much more effective than Atita. And now I can see, it's even from Stratiolaps, this Dalotia and Stratiolaps much more deeper. They can go deeper, and just Geolelaps can mostly surface-oriented agent, and well adapted with a this Canadian condition, cold condition. Yeah, and the second one, Claude, based on your yeah, just third
This is
question you
something
can.
I need to update myself. The new specific resistant strawberry strains or cultivars suited for greenhouse cultivation. I was yesterday, the day before yesterday, I was talking with Mr. Laroux. He's one of the major propagators in Quebec of strawberries. And that's it. I didn't even have time to check his catalog. So you can write me. I will put you in contact to answer that question. I prefer to say something that's actual, and because I was testing new strains about 20 years ago, and it doesn't change very fast in that industry, but it does. So I'd like to be sure about
Yeah.
also know the other guy that founded the other Nova Fruit, which is another major propagator. I went to school with him. So yes.
And also, Claude, for a second question, maybe we can discuss about that. Maybe I think for you can consider that you can compare, for example, Geolelabs with Stratiolabs much easier than compare Geolelabs with Dalotia or Atita. So I mean that always I'm doing like that. I'm suggesting to all growers that if you want control the trips properly, I mean that the pupal stage of trips. So please consider all three agents together. So just mix Geolelabs, Stratiolabs, and Dolotia. No need to ignore one agent and use other agents. So just mix and use all together for clean up everything. So this is my suggestion. And I also see very good, results from mixing together these three soil dulling agents. So it's very important to mix, I think. So
Yes, very good.
for clean up everything.
Yeah, it is a very good point you're bringing. The like the pitchfork approach, the more biological agents that you can use together, the better, the more biodiversity. They will each have their advantages. So Dalosia will be better a bit with the shore flies, and and like we said before, like Galulaps is better at surface
And
oriented
Stratiolabs, yeah.
and tight, like very dense substrates.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but for example, just for example, we are suggesting 100. For example, as a in preventative program, we are always suggesting, for example, 100 per square meter of geolelabs, 100 per square meter stratiolabs, and one or two, for example, per square meter atita. So if you gonna to use all mixed together, so you can use, for example, 50 per square meter geolelabs, 50 per square meter stratiolabs, and 1 per square meter atita. Just mix all together and release. This is my suggestion, and it would be perfectly work. So how about the other question? Yeah, here we have
He's
other
writing
questions.
something, yes.
So any question? So can atita be introduced without breeding bugs?
Yes, but it's going to be more cost efficient if you have a good production site. To some people they're ingenious, and they figured out the way to rear them to them for themselves. So they buy the inoculate from us, in fact, and they will maintain them. It's just the same thing also with banker plants. The barley banker plants, or certain growers will sow their own barley in little pots, and they will use our first order to put next to their own thing to maintain their banker plants all the time. So yes, if you are aware how to, it is quite simple to, I believe, Tita,
Yeah, even without breeding box they can use. Yeah, I agree. And also when they are using, for example, when they are applying this all together, just mess everywhere, on a slab, on a ground, everywhere, with geolabs, stratiolabs, and just mess everywhere, because who knows where are they? Where are the trips? Yeah,
They're good at hiding.
yeah, just mess everywhere with these
Then they
agents.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah. So, any other question?
Yeah, it's another being written.
Yeah, I can see Dominic. Yeah, this typing something. So again, I can tell that we will add this video very soon in our YouTube channel, and it's accessible to everyone. So if no question, so just we look forward to seeing you all in our next webinar. So keep in touch, and I wish you all great day ahead.